Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Blood of a Stranger by Dele Charlie. Now this is another play under the African drama category. Okay, so we'll look at the subtopics under this. First and foremost, let us look at a brief background of this play. Very brief. The Blood of a Stranger is about the fraudulent activities of a white colonialist exploiter who shows tremendous disregard for the culture of the people and also their customs. He wishes to corrupt them with petty gifts, seduce their women, steal their diamond wealth. Now it should be noted that this play is set against the backdrop of Sierra Leone, which is known to be rich with its natural resources such as diamonds. It's a compelling spectacle on the stage and also an engaging drama piece to read. Apart from being a very gripping drama, the play vividly exhibits key aspects of Sierra Leonean history and culture. This is going to be very interesting. Alright, so let's look at the plot. Brief story. Maligu, the chief advisor to King Santigi Mando V, declares that an unidentified white man would be visiting their country. So he has written a letter to him, and he seeks and finds the cooperation of Soko, the priest of the village shrine, to prophesy that the land should welcome this guest. Now, if it should be noted, this is a manipulated prophecy. Now, this manipulated prophecy is against the existing spiritual ordinance of the community not to accept visitors. Now, they already have a standing order that they are not to accept foreigners. But now they are trying to manipulate this prophecy to make the people believe that it is something that would favor them. To them, strangers represent illness, disease, aggression. Now it should be noted that the stranger that is about to come is a white man. However, because Soko is ordained the priest of the village, who has also interceded between the fathers and their forefathers, the people have no reason but to question. They have no reason to question or doubt his divination. Their forefathers must have sent this vision. So they prepare themselves to welcome the visitor who is about to come. Kindo, the chief warrior and the son of the king, feels otherwise. He senses something. He senses that something is wrong because the village alliance between Soko and Maligu on this news. Now, knowing that the two are fraudulent and dishonest, Kindo becomes suspicious of Soko's claim. Remember, Soko is the village priest. He becomes suspicious of Soko's claim that he has received the vision to admit a stranger into Mando land. The white man, symbolically called Whitehead, it's called Whitehead, that's a symbolic name. He arrives and shows little or no respect for the culture and traditions of the land. Kindo forces Whitehead, that is the white visitor, to order, and a seed of discord is sown between them. Whitehead soon takes Maligu into confidence, and his true motive of coming is the diamonds of the land. He has given the king a false impression that he is in their land to cultivate a tobacco farm, build a school, and help the village from the proceeds of the tobacco farm. Indeed, his actual purpose is to have the farmers unsuspectingly harvest the diamonds for him. Now, at this juncture, this is illustrative of the fact that this was what the white oppressors stood for when they stepped into the African lands. Of course, they came with so many attractions. Alright, so at this juncture, we'll look at the themes. That is the central idea captured in this play. First off is colonialist arrogance and exploitation. Now, if you notice, the white man known as Whitehead came into the Mando community with little or no regard for their customs. As is customary, he is supposed to pay homage to the king, but he refuses to do that until Kindo forces him. This is reflective of colonial arrogance in history. Even though the real colonial mission is to exploit, they still engage the owner of the land in service labor to advance that interest and also expect to accord him honor and respect. At the end of the day, you find out that Whitehead also came with his way of life. He came with his way of doing things. Now, before now, the people were known to drink mampama, which is a local drink congenial with their system, but Whitehead introduces a stronger alcohol that intoxicates and makes animals of the people. Alright, the other thing we'll be looking at is greed and ambition. The key characters that represent greed and graft here are Whitehead, who is the foreigner that comes to visit, Maligu and Soko. The three have the sole ambition to get rich. Whitehead comes to Mando with the dubious intent to cut away the people's diamond and become extremely rich. The other two connive with him to carry out his intention, and somehow greed sets in when they begin to distrust one another and hatching plans to eliminate each other for the greater advantage on the diamond wealth. And now another thing we'll be looking at is cultural clash. Of course, there is no way a white man would step into the shores of the Africa and cultural clash will not occur. Now, Western values and African values come for headed collision in this play. When Whitehead refuses to pay respect to the king, Kindo teaches him how to do it and insists on why it must be done. It is not Whitehead's culture to bow before a king, but he is made to kiss the ground before King Satigi. Smoking of pipe, hard drug intakes, and drinking of hard spirits, and we are not necessarily African ways of life until the white men came, and this is portrayed by Whitehead, who comes with his foreign ways of life. Soko also erodes the custom by not sleeping in the cave as required. Now, it is believed that Soko, as a village priest, should sleep in the cave. Rather, he sleeps. He goes against this law of sleeping in the cave. And Satigi and Whitehead also contest animal sacrifice in place of human sacrifice. The king extols the rationale behind human sacrifice to secure peace. Whitehead suggests a goat instead, but is cautioned not to meddle into what he does not understand. Now, another theme, the evils of African colonial encounter with the West. The play successfully demonstrates the evils of African colonial encounter with the West. Kindo represents a major obstacle to Whitehead's plan. Somehow we can look at Kindo as the custodian of the African culture. He does everything within his power to maintain the law and order that is within the village. However, Whitehead is a symbol of oppression. Another thing is the moral decadence and corruption. Some characters in the play fail moral tests. Whitehead, for instance, attempts to rape a country virgin, Kindo's woman, Wara. The attempted rape of this country virgin in the play symbolizes the rape of the country's natural resources that the colonial government is essentially after. It should be emphasized that Whitehead's deft manipulation of Mando society is aided and abetted by the corrupt priest of the shrine. So it was not possible for Whitehead to do it alone. There were also some people within the village, such as the village priest Soko and Maligu, who aided the Whitehead in his corrupt practice. So this goes a long way to show that even within the village, people who are meant to be the custodians of culture to maintain law and order, in a way, they could be corrupted. So, at the end of the day, we look at the last theme. Justice always wins out against corruption. The white man symbolizes Britain's rape of Sierra Leonean natural resources. In this place, Sierra Leonean people are presented not only as victimized, but also as complicit in the exploitation of their own people. Though the gifts of strange tobacco and alcohol, through the gifts of strange tobacco and alcohol, Whitehead takes advantage of the drug natives and exploits their resources. With the help of Maligu and Soko, Whitehead also tries to rape a Kindo woman, but in the end his elaborate plans fail. On the whole, Dele Charlie, who is the author, clearly makes the point that justice would always find its course irrespective of the oppressive grand design to scuttle justice. Now, in our next segment, we'll be looking at the characters that are bound in this play. Characters in the play, we'll start with Maligu. Maligu is the king's advisor, but he uses his position to corruptly plan the false story of prophecy. It was he who connived with Soko to manipulate the prophecy of the land concerning the advent of Whitehead into their village. Instead of using his wisdom positively for the advancement of the people, he betrays his kingdom. He betrays his kingdom's trust. And we'll be looking at Soko. Soko is the village priest. He is false, full of deceit and treachery. Soko's voice is the voice of the god as he mediates between the spirits, but he corrupts this position, this spiritual position. He uses blackmail as a weapon of enlistment and also enticement. As the whole scheme gets more complicated, his inner strength begins to fail him. He has probably died many times before Parker kills him. We'll also look at other characters like Kindo. Yes, a very admirable character. He is the son of the king. He is an upright defender of the Mando land, and he has very sensitive instincts. He feels evil in the air easily, very sensitive to a crooked situation. Now, what is the significance of Kindo's character? Like I said earlier, he is the custodian of culture. He wants to maintain peace and order. His boastful and willing natures are defense vices to keep the opposition in effective check. His killing of Parker and Whitehead suggests the death of Western exploitation of African heritage. And I believe that is where we get our title from, Blood of a Stranger. Alright, at this juncture, we will comment on the dramatic devices used in this play. A major device used here is irony. Now, Dele Charlie uses irony richly in the play for dramatic effectiveness. Now, the first thing we'll note here is Maligu, the most educated man in the community and wise one, complains that Soko puts too many obstacles in the way. And Soko replies that obstacles have been in the way all the time. Maligu is blind to the mischievous intentions of Whitehead until very much later. So, it's funny that Maligu is conniving with Whitehead, who is the foreign investor, but he does not know his real intentions until the end of the play. Another incident of irony is when Soko chooses Wara. Wara is Kindo's love interest for virgin sacrifice. Maligu warns him that Kindo is fire and he will burn you if you touch Wara. It is ironical that Soko is consumed by his own sacrificial fire. Kindo's banishment for killing Parker is also another irony. This is a man who uses all his energy and wit to defend Mando custom, but ends up being a victim to that which he protects. Kindo can only conclude that Mando land is in danger. So, another thing we'll look at here is the use of incantations, music, and dance, of course, which abound in a typical African setting. The ritual coloration of this drama necessitates rich use of incantations and dance, most especially. Even though we are not given the contents of the incantations, they are expected to be drawn from the cultural milieu of Sierra Leone and also have direct relevance to the dramatic context of utility. For instance, we are told that at the communal gathering at the shrine, even at some ritual observances, drumming starts again and Soko begins an incantation. It starts to dance and the attendants join him. By this we can infer that the elements of incantation, drumming and dance fused together, which is to facilitate the transportation of the priest to a higher plane to commune with the spirits on behalf of the Mando people. Now I'm going to ask a few questions here. When we say blood of a stranger, what are the factors we are referring to? Are we referring to some characters? Are we referring to an event? What does blood of a stranger symbolize in this play by Dele Charlie? Also discuss the themes used in this play, Blood of a Stranger. Then lastly, what is the relevance of Blood of a Stranger to a modern society in Africa? Now, you should note that some of these questions will be posted or will be displayed on your screen to determine how much you have learned in this class. I hope you have found this material very useful. Thank you for listening.